Welcome back to the Fantasy Grimoire podcast. And today we have Whatpaigeyreads, aka Paige Price, with us. And I'm so excited to have you here.
Hi, how are you?
You know what? I don't think I've ever recorded with coffee on the podcast. Like this is the first for me, so I love that for me. But I know we've been talking a lot, and I'm actually just so glad to have you face to face where we can gossip and yap like old girls. Love that for us.
I know, I'm really excited to be here.
We've had a little bit of drama in the Bookstagram community the past few weeks. I want to talk about Hot Girls Read. Now, if we take this back a few years, I distinctly remember Hot Girl Summer by Meg Thee Stallion. And I kind of feel like that's where the Hot Girls Do XYZ, started. Then we had a bookstagrammer decide, hey, let me trademark this phrase for my very Canva copy and paste apparel. Let's just add that a trademark doesn't just happen overnight. Like this is something that has been planned where there's lawyers involved. So I want to hear your thoughts on this whole trademarking debacle.
Well, I stumbled across it from just a group chat. It just popped up and they were saying how Threads was just literally blowing up. And so I just had to jump on and I saw it and I was like, what? How?
Are you okay? Like, what is going on there?
It's just like, you think about it and it's so popular.
Yeah.
It's something that everyone says.
Yeah.
So it's just a bit icky. You know what I mean?
Yeah, icky. I like that. I understand business strategy. Don't get me wrong. And girl, you go on and you get paid. Okay, we want you to be paid for your time, know your worth, and I think that's wonderful. But at the expense of stabbing other people in the back, I'm just like, we have to start thinking about the ethics of what we're doing here. I'm chatting to another author, I'm helping her with dev edits, and I said to her, I need you to start thinking about what are your comps. And I was like, it's not traditional to do TV shows. I prefer to do it. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but you can. I'm just giving you the option. But the standard response is to go for books. And she's like, oh, but I don't want to copy you. And I'm like, girl, you are not copying me. I did not invent this. I'm sharing my knowledge with you and the things that have worked for me so that you can find the pieces that work for you. And this is where the ethics come in it. And I'm just like, did you see her apology video?
No, I didn't.
She apologized. But it was a little bit of a half-ass apology, and there's been a lot of backlash with the apology. I'm a little bit conflicted with it because in one breath, I do think saying sorry is, I have respect for that. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart because it takes a big person to do that. But say you're sorry, end. No justification, no, like, do you know what I mean? You need to take that accountability for your behavior.
I was going to say, the more you have justification, the more it looks like you're guilty of something.
Correct. And then she like dropped in oh, if you buy my Hot Girls Read apparel, I'll donate it to some charity name. And I'm like, so now it's become a sales plug. And a conversation I was having with one of my readers is that everyone's like, oh, we're being so hard on her. Da, da, da. And I was like, we're kind of allowing it because she's white. If we look at some of the other Black creators, authors, and how people have been behaving towards them in dramatic moments, there's absolutely no sympathy. But white girl, she apologizes with a half-ass apology.
Yeah, it's a double standard.
I also am starting to hear rumors that people want to trade blind date with a book boyfriend. I'm just like, you guys all need to go outside, touch some grass, and find something else to get involved in.
As I say to my son, take a couple of deep breaths.
Yes. Literally. And just for the listeners' context, Silas is 2, if I remember correctly.
2.5, yeah. Good job.
But now let's turn this and talk about you because that's the whole point of this episode, to put the spotlight on you.
Stop it.
Where did this love for indie start? Like, tell us how did Whatpaigeyreads become what it is today?
Well, it started with a hope and a dream. I love reading. That's the main bottom line. Wasn't to get famous, wasn't to get recognition, wasn't there to get free books. And also just because I just fell in love with indies. I just don't know what it was. I picked up a book and it was indie and I connected with the author. And from there, I just stuck.
I have to say, I didn't know that indies was a thing until obviously I joined the Bookstagram space and, I went on my journey. And then when I found out how many of the books I had already read were indie, like the books you can't stop thinking about, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a thing. And I also have struggled to like figure it out. And I think there's a certain amount of, it's like that hustle mentality where how much that indie has hustled to put the story together, right? It's not just writing the book. We know whether you try it or indie, that's not enough anymore. But indies are almost braver with the risks they're willing to take in storytelling, and it shows in the story. And it's that one that kind of sits with you long after you finish. That's at least the reason that I put together for myself.
Absolutely. Like the hustle you guys have to do is insane. And it just made me go, I want to support these people. I want to make a platform so I can share my love and connect more readers for them.
I sometimes take for granted how experience helps. The more books you publish, the more kind of it becomes like your own process. It's not as scary anymore as it was in the beginning. I mean, we're not talking about reader reactions. That never gets so scary. But I'm talking about the publication process. And chatting to another debut, and she has a few questions just about, the order of things, and
Hmm.
I'm explaining it to her. And I read it back, and I was like, oh, damn, that does sound pretty intense. And she's like, I'm starting to panic. I was like, yeah, don't panic. We'll jump on a call. We'll do it together. It'll take us 5 minutes. And she's like, yeah, but it's so much. And I'm like, I promise you, the biggest issue is that you haven't done it. So it sounds bad. But the moment you see how straightforward it is, you'll be like,
Hmm.
let me publish another book tomorrow, kind of thing.
For new indie authors, there's not a lot information for them to find out what they need to do to find their audience, but also to just upload to Amazon and their Kindle pages and all of those sort of stuff. They don't find that out until later.
That was one of the conversations we also needed to have where granted I've been kind of almost 4 years doing the writing thing, but keep in mind like the first 2 years don't really count in my opinion because I made like every single mistake along the way, so that's how I justify it. But the point is I am only doing an audiobook now, okay, because I've had to work up to it. It's not about just finding the right narrator that's affordable for me. It's about, do I have the disposable income? Because I'm not doing a royalty share. I'm paying for it up front. And she's like, oh yeah, I really want an audiobook. And I'm like, girl, most of us do. But unless you're willing to do a royalty share option, like just publish your debut first. Focus on that. The audiobook can come later. And an interesting conversation I had with my narrator about royalty share is a lot of indies don't realize that the reason why narrators take that one on less is because they need to see that your business model actually works and that they can get their royalty share from it. I just know that I don't like that for me because I don't like someone telling me how to market. I'm just like, if I want to do a funny reel, like I have a Euphoria, that Natty from Euphoria reel going live next week, and I'm like, that's terrible marketing advice. No one should follow me, but I had fun doing it. You've also recently launched your author services. What do you want to tell us about that?
I stumbled into it as such because I have a community of indie authors. They started to ask me advice, collabing with me. I'm on their street team, so they were like, hey, can you just help me build morale and hype and that sort of stuff? And I was like, sure. And then the more I started doing it, and then I started just doing some graphics for authors without them even asking me. And I was like, maybe I can do this. And so I did it. And I'm still scared. And I think I'll be scared for another while because it's putting myself out there and monetizing, monetar,
Monetizing.
monetizing. Thank you. I was like, um, myself. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know what it's worth. So I'm jumping in the deep end and just going for it.
So I want to talk about that for a second. Yeah, it's a weird thing because on one hand, you're like, know your worth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my time is valuable and I should be able to charge for my time. And this is something I've debated a lot. When I say edits, I do edits, but I don't touch copy or line edits. I will not do that for the obvious reasons, but I'm talking about the dev edits, the blurb writing, the beta reading. That's those type of edits. Knowing what it feels like to be on a budget, I feel really guilty charging for these things, if I'm being honest with you. But the way I've had to kind of justify it to myself is that unfortunately, when I did it for free, because I did it for free as well, not every author values your time. And it shows in the way they respond to the feedback. I specifically remember earlier this year, there was a beta read I did where I actually basically did a dev edit. And that is a shit ton of work. And the author went and ignored every single piece of feedback. How I know that is I've seen the reviews, which touches on all the things that I mentioned. And it's fine because it's still the author's story. Like, that's not the end of the world. But I'm just like, I did that for free and it feels like I wasted my time. And but me monetizing my time, there's almost like there's an exchange of service. So if you're paying me for it, you're going to take it seriously. Now, one of the conversations I have with each author that I help is, what is your budget? And I also offer payment plans because I know how that feels, and that just helps me a lot with the guilt. I actually had a big chat to my husband about this guilt side because I just want to help everyone.
Yes, I completely understand that. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there was one stage, I think about 2 weeks ago, I was like reviewing 4 different manuscripts along with my own manuscript, along with podcasting, along with my day job. At some point, you have to draw the lines. I guess that's why I get it, but I'm also really happy to see that you are going this route because let's talk about another sensitive topic.
No.
This about last week, it was a scam. So exactly, yeah. So it was a kind of a combination of what you and I are doing. I didn't get the full story, and ironically, she was one of my followers. I saw that, I was like, ugh, was taking a bunch of authors' money and then just did nothing, disappeared. Yeah, yeah. So this is where I think credibility and reputation becomes so important for us because sure, I might be newer to I say editing side of business, but like I've been around for a while. I'm a real person doing real things, and I'm actually starting to build a portfolio for myself, so I
Mm-hmm.
can really just build that credibility a bit further. But with what Paigey reads, you also have that credibility where you have so many authors that can vouch for you that this girl's legit. She's gonna have your back. Like work with her. So I really think you've gone about it the right way.
Thank you. And I've actually got someone who wants to work with me until their fifth book will come out at the end of this year. And they want me to read all 4 of their books for their 5th book to come out to help them with release.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And
that's quite something.
yeah, and that was just through, and that wasn't even through my expression of interest form. That was just them reaching out. And I've already had interactions with them. And I was just like, let's go.
Yeah.
So we've had
And
2 calls and yeah,
this is over and above me wanting to work with you.
I just love it. I just feel like it's something that I just naturally fallen into. And I've got a couple of PAs that are based in Australia that we've done our Pride's author spotlights this month. And the 3 of us have worked on those together. And that's been awesome. Mm-hmm.
I've been saying for years that we know the US dominates the fantasy space. That's fine. We've made peace with that. But what that means is that there are other territories that are being underserved in the fantasy space. Today we're going to talk about Australia because there is a thriving, bustling fantasy community there, which I don't believe it gets enough attention. And I feel like it's influence, and I'm going to call you an influencer for now, even though you're a bit more like an entrepreneur, but it's influencers like you that are working so hard to change this narrative. What would you want us to know about the fantasy scene in Australia that Bookstagram may not know?
We're unhinged and uncouth. I
Well,
just feel like we're not afraid to toe the line. The indie authors, the Australian indie fantasy authors that I do not only work with, but interact with every day and also have read their books, they're just as talented as anywhere else. And I feel like that still needs to get that spotlight, no matter where we are.
so Sarah Raquel, have you read Control My Night? Shout out Sarah if you're listening.
Funny enough, I am 60 pages into a book because I've had so many arc and now I've been doing some beta reads and stuff. Like I just need to pick up my book that I want to read.
I trust me, I fully get that. But Sarah is one of my favorite, and I'm going to say authors, but she just happens to be an Aussie as well. About a year or so ago, we were on the same podcast, but I was before, and it was we both have urban fantasy with supernatural mafia twists to it. So, like, I mean, what were the chances? And then she just like jumped into my DM, started chatting away to me, and we haven't stopped chatting since then. And I'm just like, she's working on her second release now. She's about to do the cover reveal for Control My Night. Oh God, I can't wait for Annika's story. Remember that comment? Once you're done reading, you'll understand why I said that. Um, but yeah, like I look at authors like Sarah and I'm just like, yeah, why are we not talking more about the Australian fantasy authors? Because the storytelling, fucking
Yeah.
phenomenal.
And the funny thing is, she only lives like 20, 30 minutes away from me.
Oh my God.
We were in the same bookstore about like a few months ago and with another fantasy author that I also love, K.E. Barton. Shout out to her. She's amazing, Kim. And they were just standing there, just having a chat to the author that owned the bookstore because they were just dropping off stock and stuff like that. And then all of these gaggles of bookstagrammers just go through and be like, "Hi." And I just messaged her and I was like, I'm so sorry. I was really awkward and just didn't come and say hi.
We have Spellbound happening in Amsterdam next year, which I'm so excited about. And one of my closest author friends is going to be coming through, American. And it's so weird because like we talk to each other every day, all day. Okay. I probably talk to him more than I talk to my own husband. But I'm just like, how do we act in person? What is the process? Do I hug you? Do we just continue our conversation? I'm a massive overthinker, by the way.
So, actually, funny story. I'm going and volunteering at a book event on Saturday. And I know I've had a few authors go because they know that I live in the state that it's going to be hosted in. And they're like, "Are you going?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm volunteering." And they're like, "Oh, I get to see you." And I was just like, and she was like, "Can I give you a hug or a high five?" And I was like, "You can give me the biggest hug ever. I really don't care."
No, I kind of get why they're asking that though, because a few months ago, I can't remember the convention's name, but it was a dark romance convention,
Mm.
um, where there were a few cosplayers that were almost assaulted. Um, and because of like the content, because like people are building up this whole, oh, you're cosplaying X from this dark romance, so you must be like X. I mean, I don't know their names. I'm not a huge dark romance reader, um, and where conventions are now needing to put these massive boundaries in place about physical
Mhm.
like physical touching, to protect the authors and the vendors, because not all, some readers are just ruining it for the rest because they're forgetting, like, hey, this is real life. Go touch some
Exactly.
grass, please.
Yeah. And the great thing is about this event is by a Australian I would say like paranormal fantasy author. She has made buttons red like traffic lights. So red means don't touch me, yellow means ask for permission, and green means like all good.
Okay, that is a brilliant idea, and I might need to steal that for myself because this is something we've also been chatting about a lot on the podcast this season. We look at a Polycon that happened earlier this year, and there was a lot of, I don't want to say drama because it wasn't drama, but it wasn't nice to hear some of the things that were being said about some of the authors because it's like, guys, even for an extrovert, okay, like that is a lot where you need to stand or speak to people for 8 hours per day, and you need to be switched on the whole time and pretend to give a shit. And it's not a reflection against the readers. It's about you're a human being and there's only so much you can take. But they do it because they want to make their readers happy. And then to hear
Exactly.
these like what was being said about Tracy Dion, where she was caught in a bad moment because God forbid she be human.
Mm,
But then they're like, Tracy Dion's not really like a nice person. No, you're not a nice person for shitting on this author and posting it on the goddamn internet. So yeah, I love that traffic light. I'm gonna remember that.
hmm And that's why I posted just recently. Note to self: authors are people too.
I want to add to that where I think it's important to hold authors accountable. And I've been saying this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I've been saying this for a lot. If you hate the book, you give that 1 star, you pop off Queen because that is your God-given right. I am not asking you to give special treatment to indie authors. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying give us the same, it's almost like it's equality. Give us the same respect that you would give a trad author. The irony when we were talking about Legion of Pride, let me just tell you how the aired author is sometimes such a trope. I had you in my DMs, okay, going crazy about Legion of Pride. Then I also have another author in my DMs telling me that I don't even deserve a 1 star. Okay. But wait, it gets better. It gets better. Okay.
The
So now,
audacity.
but that's fine. She can hate the book. I just don't want to know about it. Go hate the book on Goodreads, please. Okay.
Exactly.
But I just thought it was so funny because I have you on the one DM and her in the other DM, and I'm like, what a fucking wild experience. And then she says to me, but I can delay the review if you want to. Now, I know that is a popular thing that authors do. I am personally not a fan because I think it's almost manipulating the review. I said to her, I am not a fan of delaying the review because it's not a reflection of honesty then. And I just feel
hmm
like reviews need to be honest in that sense.
Yeah.
It's like, you go put your review on. And I was like, but in future, maybe just say to the author in question that it wasn't for me. That's it.
hmm
That's all you need to say. But I want to hear from you. What are some of your best and worst moments since joining the bookish space?
Well, my best would absolutely be the community. Like the community that I've built, but also like fallen into has been incredible. And that's been the best. I don't care about followers. I don't care about likes. I don't care about views. I love the DMs that I get. I love the comments that I get, the emails, just the love that people get for not only just myself, but the authors that I promote or just love on, they love on them too.
And the worst?
Feeling like I have to be chronically online all the time.
Girl, that is relatable as fuck. Um,
But
so
I
yeah,
work
go.
full time. I have a small child. I have now just started my own little business. I read, I'm already at almost 70 books this year. Like, I read a lot. I work. I go to the gym. I can be a wife, a mum, a sister, a daughter, a friend. And then I'm also online all the time. It's a lot and
I
it
mean,
takes a lot out.
I got a little bit tired listening to you list that all. So I think I may have mentioned this once on a podcast episode. But why I say that's relatable as fuck. So most people don't know that when I launched The Clash of the Damned, which is my second book in the Supernatural Mafia series, It was actually the day after my double mastectomy. I was sitting in the hospital bed where because I don't schedule my posts for many reasons. So I had to
Hmm.
like manually go in and
Yeah.
post that launch day post. Now, granted, when I decided this specific launch day, I didn't have cancer yet. So that was inconvenient. Um, and then I had like an influencer that was doing like a cosplay reel kind of thing as well. She was going live, and I was just like, the reality is, I could have probably taken this time off because, you know, big surgery. I'm doped up on drugs kind of thing. But I was just like, I felt like I owed it to myself, but at the same time, I didn't know that not posting that it was going to freak me out mentally. Like,
Hmm.
oh, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. The book isn't doing well because I didn't post about it. So I was just like, just post the fucking post and move on, kind
Yeah.
of thing. So oh
Hmm.
God, I felt that in my soul now.
And you just kind of like hit another point. Like, I feel the same. If I don't post, I get really stressed. And it's not necessarily because I care about the views or anything like that. It's just because I love it. I really do. I really love this community. I love what I'm able to do. And if I don't post, I freak out. And so that's why I was just like, yeah, I mean, even yesterday, I had the day off. It was my annual leave day. I finished two books. I started a third, got halfway through it. I know I read really fast yesterday, but I didn't shower. I didn't eat all day. I was in my bed all day. But I also like had a couple of posts scheduled for once, and I never really schedule posts, but I did it and I loved it because I
It's
didn't have to look at
empowering.
my phone.
It's do you know what I think it is? It's also, yes, the love it, but on the community side, for me, it's the engagement because
Mm,
there's some, I hate using the term followers because they've become more like friends in the community, but for lack of a better word, followers, where they like the fact that I'm so honest about things and we can have engage in a lot of conversation about like the honesty where I mean, just the other day, I saw HM Wolf posting about imposter syndrome, and I'm like, that is so fucking relatable. Where if this big successful author is going through it, maybe it's okay that I'm going through it too. So I'm not
exactly.
HM Wolf, obviously, but like I like to talk about a lot of these things to normalize it so that other authors don't feel so excluded or just like that they're the only ones going through it because
Hmm.
that's what community is. If we can share in this common thing, maybe it's not that bad.
Exactly. And I think that's why I like to share a bit about my mum life too, because I'm like, you can be a mum and you can still do all of these things because you have to just put yourself a little bit first sometimes.
So this is something I say to my mom a lot. I say to her, selfish has such negative connotations, and that's really not what it is. We have reframed it to prioritize yourself. Because I said to her, you can't be a good partner, mom, friend, whatever, if your cup is not full. And that's a conversation my husband and I have often is about how can we show up for each other if we're not doing the things that make us
Hmm.
happy. So 100%, I love that you did it. And it doesn't mean you love your husband less. It doesn't mean that you love your kid less. It's just you're a person first. You were a person before you had those other roles, and you can't kind
Hmm.
of lose sight of that.
Exactly. I mean, it's like tonight I'm doing something that I love, and my husband's supporting me by looking after Silas while we do this. But then we reciprocate. He's a big Warhammer guy and he loves his community and he's big in his own community. And so I look after Silas when he's doing his stuff. We're a team.
Yeah, that's what a partnership looks like. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now we're getting to one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Mm,
What's your bookish hot take? Dun, dun, dun.
it's okay to DNF. Um, but another one is don't tag all this in bad reviews. Um, and indie is better than trad sometimes.
I was chatting to my PA recently, and by the way, this is a common hot take that's starting to come up about DNA thing. There were actually a few bad reviews that I got before I stopped reading reviews, because I've now had to stop reading reviews on each
Good girl. I was
side.
about to say, why are you
Yeah.
reading beer reviews?
No, but let's backtrack a little bit. Ping Cole was the final episode of season 2, and she's hardcore, fucking love that. But she was like, I don't care how thick-skinned you are, stop reading your reviews, because it like sits and it festers in your brain. So even if you think you're handling it, you start second guessing your abilities. And at that time, I was like, I'm so big and cool. I can do it. Anyway, if I ever meet Pen Cole again, I will tell her she can say I told you so to my face. Funny enough, the bad reviews never bothered me before, but there was one review specifically from a person that I had a good relationship with, which caught me off guard, and it was particularly vicious. Okay. Yeah. And that was kind of like the cherry on the cake for me. And the irony is another one star that I have was lovely. She was wonderful. She like her reasons for not liking it were completely well run. And I was like, I know it's weird to say that about a 1-star review, but I'm just like, for me, it's the words. It's that when you become cruel, that's what
Mhm.
like starts eating away at me. I haven't looked at my Goodreads dashboard in 3 months, and it is the happiest I have ever been as a person. I've even moved my reading tracker over to Storygraph, so I'm not tempted to do the same.
Like, my thing is, be honest, have your own opinion, but be kind about it. Don't be a shithead.
I love that shithead. Here's another example. So I recently read Direbound and Furybound. Okay, so I initially delayed Direbound because I was like the hype was just putting me off it. I wasn't a huge fan of the writing, and remember, I'm a vibes girly, so for me to mention writing, that really shows you something.
Yeah.
But I was like, the story was good enough that I could kind of like push it to the side. And then I was lucky that I only had to wait 3 days before Fury Bound released. And then I read that 600-page book in like 2 days, because I was like, I need to know what happens next.
Mm.
I have been seeing a lot of hate about Fury Bound. I personally don't agree. I actually enjoyed Fury Bound. For me, it's like the books are different. Like, you shouldn't be comparing them. It's the continuation of the story. Does that story make sense? So I think in that sense, 10 out of 10, the authors did a wonderful job, because Sable Saracen is a duo. Um,
Okay, didn't know that.
yeah, I also recently learned that Sable Saracen is their pen name. But the hate I've been seeing from some bigger influencers, and I'm talking about like the 10K plus, the ones that work with the trad authors, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and tagging Sable Sorensen in the hate. And I'm like, guys, they're still people. It's fine if you hate the book, like whatever, but like leave them fucking out of it.
Yeah. I and I don't know if anyone's caught on this. I don't post about any DNFs or books that I didn't vibe with. I just leave that to the side. I prefer talking about books that I love or
Yeah.
vibed with.
There's one, I didn't catch that, but now that you mention it, it makes sense for what I've seen. There's another one of my longtime readers. She's what I like to call a little bit more direct and a little bit more analytical with how she reads. And that's perfect. There's a space for everyone. So she said she understands that a lot of people want to focus on the positive side. But for her, she likes to include the things that she's not vibing with. But, and I really like how she does this. She goes, this was not for me for X, Y, and Z reason. But if you
But
like A, B, C, give this a try. And I think that was such a wonderful way to be honest, like true to herself, but also reframe it in a way that it's not mean.
yeah, I just feel like I like to talk about what brings me joy. And if it doesn't bring me joy, I don't want to talk about it.
100% agree with you. God, I realize now what a question this is going to be for you. But if you had to pick one fantasy book to recommend to someone, or that you would want to see get more love on the Bookstagram space, okay, you can pick two. You can pick two. Three?
Jesus, you put me right on the spot. I'm just looking at my books because a lot of my books are books that I've like bought after I've read them on the Kindle.
I do the same.
Well, I have a few, and these are people that I normally always hype because they're just like my people. But I have a few here that I could easily talk about. Oh, there's so many. God. Okay. I've got a couple Australian authors, and then I've
Love
also
it.
got a UK author that I also love. And there's also more that I could grab out. But anyway, I'll keep it to 4. So pure fantasy vibes is Brendan Arnold, Rise of the Phoenix. It is a queer story. And at the end, you kind of get a vibe that there's going to be more happening. Leaves on a cliffhanger. This is actually book 2, but Lords of Shadow and Blood, Lucy May Smith. This is book 2, Lady of Light and Dark. Pure just like vampire, werewolves, witches, right from the start, like pure origin. Dad magic. So urban fantasy,
I know him. Yeah.
queer, yeah, queer mag, yeah, queer, just wholesome, found family vibes. And then this is an author that I haven't read her book, but she's literally like, oh, I don't even know how to describe it. Just pure sunshine. And I'm actually going to catch up with her tomorrow morning. And that's Kiki Townley. And this is like fantasy, but she's put a lot of like psychological stuff in it and really like thought provoking things. So that's another one. There you go, 4.
So I love it. I love it. And I want to on Dad Magic, Benjamin Twigg, that's the author's name if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I love, we were talking about, the whole off-campus craze recently. Now, I watched it. Granted, I am not a mom, so I don't have to look at these college boys and wonder if they're old enough to be my child, because that would be a little bit like I've heard some moms say that that is their issue. Um, I might need to go rewatch it because I'm like, the hype is fucking real with that. Like,
It's so good.
and I need to actually go read the off-campus books now because I don't normally read outside of fantasy very often, but I was like, I will make an exception for this. But the whole conversation about off-campus is that sure, we love our morally gray, blah 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 blah. But it shows us what good looks like. We have boyfriends that are supporting, that understand consent. We have best friends that are showing up for each other. And it just reminds us that it sounds a little bit lame, but there's hope in the world. And it's like the hope that we needed right now. And I feel like Dad Magic is kind of giving me those vibes. And I fucking love that.
Like the best friend in it just like calls him out on his shit. And I love that. But then there's also like some really unhinged moments too, which is fantastic. Yeah, just beautiful in a way that just makes you feel like you can see yourself in that character too a little bit. Even though they may be male and I'm female, like I could still see myself in those characters too in a way.
Yeah. I think the Dean is that guy. He is so funny in an old campus. Um, but it's like when they're talking about like orgasms and things, and he's like, if it's her first time, she might not. And I was like,
You
everyone
think it's going to be a red flag moment,
yeah,
and it's the biggest green flag.
this man needs to be studied. When husbands or boyfriends are not like, guys, we've given you the handbook. Go read off campus, go watch it if reading is not your thing, and then use those notes for your relationship. It will
Hmm.
thank you. I know trad is not your thing, but I think it's worth talking about.
I wouldn't say it's not my thing.
Okay.
It's just something that I don't like talk about a lot.
Okay.
I still read a lot of it. And funny enough, I do a lot more audiobooks in regards to that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
Now,
find that it's easier to read trad audibly when do indie by ebooks or physical.
yeah. The reason why I want to talk about trad for a second
Hmm.
is for the second half of 2026, we have a big year of releases. So Spark of the Everflame, I always forget the names and stuff. So it's Burn of the Everflame, book 4 in the
Hmm.
King Curse saga. And we love Pink Hole because she started out indie, and it was actually really fascinating to hear how she retained her ebook rights when she made the shift. So
Hmm.
she's actually still a hybrid author. We have Akatar 7, and we have an untitled Fourth Wing book, which, and I saw on Amazon, it says not book 4, all releasing in a very short period of each other. So aside from the reading aspect, fine, we'll all read it eventually. I am seeing a lot of authors, specifically of the indie variety, concerned about releasing anything over this period because their books might get swallowed up in the Akatar hype. The advice that I gave a indie author, since she's releasing in October, okay, and it's her release date I think is October 8th, and I actually said that's not a bad idea because the others have mostly released and it's just before Akatar. So if someone's looking for something to read in between the gaps, like, hey, here's my indie book, kind of thing. But I know not every author has that opportunity to launch on that date and or thinks that way. What are your thoughts on approaching something like this, and what is any advice you would give to an author?
Funny you say this because I've got a friend who wants to put out their debut afterwards. And also, the author that I'm going to be working with also wants to wait until afterwards. And one thing I said to the debut one was, why don't you start your arcs just before they launch and then use the coattails of their launch to then launch yours afterwards?
One of the best pieces of advice that I learned with any launch, this is not specific to this period, is that phasing your arcs. So I'm going to just pick a number. Let's say you have 100 arcs, okay? We all know that not all 100 of them are going to review. That's fine. But then maybe break it up into 3 waves. So let's say maybe a week apart, because not everyone is going to read and review immediately when they get their arc. It's going to be a staggered effect. And I know from experience with the Legion of Pride launch approach, I think I was sending 5 per day because that's just what I could manage at the time. And some of the content, and that's there was no expectation to make content from the arc. Like people were doing it out of their own. Some of the content I got was the best thing that could have happened for me, and it got me a lot of new readers as well. And I'm just like, phasing your arcs is such an underrated strategy for authors.
Yeah. And that's what I also said too, is like they wanted to do arcs slowly because they were also doing a lot of PR boxes that they want to do and stuff too. And so I said, just face it. Like you've got all of this time. But one thing I will always say to, or at least try and advise authors, is not to give such a short amount of time in between your arc release and your release.
That I fully agree with. I actually want to ask you a follow-up question. Authors giving deadlines for arcs. What's your take on that?
Personally, as someone who reads a lot of arcs, it gives me anxiety
Mhm.
because I want to try and read it before your release, but I still feel like if you know you've got good readers, they're still going to do a release. Oh, not maybe a release like post or at least shout out or something. But I think even getting reviews 2 weeks afterwards is also important because you're keeping that hype. Because I feel like if you're trying to get reviews by like a week before you release, what's going to happen after your release?
So this is what I've been saying, and I had to keep the clapping down before we upset the fur child. So I know you didn't ask for me, even though you're Red Legion of Pride, but I have this rule with anyone that asks for me, read when you can. Do you know that I released the Rule of the Damned in 2024, and that I still have ARC readers that are like chatting to me because they haven't completed? And that the one ARC reader was like, "I'm so sorry," and I'm like, "Why? You have a life. That comes first. Reading should be fun. If you can't read, don't force it, because if you're in the wrong headspace, you're just going to hate my book. Like, there's nothing I can do."
You just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, and what was the other one? I was saying to another debut author who was worried about the deadline for ARCs. I was like, first of all, you should be sending out your ARCs, if possible, 1 to 2 months before your release date. And this whole giving readers 2 weeks to read is bullshit. Okay, fuck off. I'm not interested. And I will start taking authors on. And then I was like, third of all, generating hype for your work between releases is the hardest part. My God, I wish people realized that.
Yes. And that was something that I wanted to do with my author services, is talk to them about how they're going to do their release. Because if you can get hype before your release and hype on your release, you're going to have a better chance of getting more readers after your release, but also still having hype up. And that's why it's important to ensure that you also get key people in your art teams. And if you don't want to do a street team, that's okay too. Have some specific art readers that you know that are going to review for you. Be like, hey, do you mind just posting your review a couple of days after release? Like, reach out to them. There's no rule,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And I think that's what I hope to be able to bring down, that barrier between bookstagrammer and author, because I feel like authors really love connecting, and so do bookstagrammers. But then some bookstagrammers are so scared to talk to people. And then they wonder why, maybe their content is not going, or that sort of stuff. Like, reach out to people.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah. Paige, as we start wrapping up, I have loved chatting to you and getting to know you a little bit more. But what's next for all the little pies in the oven that you have going?
Well, okay, I have quite a few. So I'm actually in the works with an Australian indie author. Him and I are going to be launching our own podcast. It's called the PB.
Yeah.
So P for Paige and B for Brendan, because we're going to be your personal best in podcasting.
Oh my God, I love that.
Your personal besties. So that's what we're doing. So I got my author services that I'm starting to just slowly trickle. I don't want to say too much but I've got a few friends, and we're going to be making like a platform to connect indie authors to readers and readers to indie authors.
Sign me up. I'm in. Like, do you just you need a tester? I'm in.
So we're going to do this mainly on Instagram at first, and then build a website. And it's going to be basically what I do on Whatpaigeyreads, but more moving it to a platform, because it's becoming quite big. My indie interviews, newsletter, all of that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And I need help.
Mhm.
So I've recruited some friends who have reached out to me and asked if I needed help. And so we're going to do kind of what I do on there. And I'm going to take like my platform back and be a bit more personal with my stuff again. Still promoting, still doing everything what I do,
Mhm.
but just kind of not doing as many interviews and that sort of stuff, and do more on the other
the
platform that we're going to
platform.
be making.
So it's almost like going back to basics for the love of it again, not because for any other reason, which it's not to say that the other stuff isn't from the love, but it's becoming more of a business and you just kind of want to separate that. I
Yeah,
understand. I understand.
absolutely. I want to be still known as what Paige reads, the indie author, hype girl, and everything like that, because I'm still going to do that.
Mhm.
But I'm just going to be moving, the expression of interest forms and all of the interviews and everything, spotlight, and still collab with my own,
Mhm.
but bring it over to there to have more help and everything like that.
No, that makes sense. Paige, if anyone is listening and they're like, I'm really vibing with her, what is the best way to support you?
Jump into my DMs.
That's such an
because
answer.
um because like my DMs go off a lot, but if you can be like, hey Paige, how are you?
Mhm.
I'll respond.
No, you will. I can verify that 100%.
If you go, don't even personalize it or just be like wanting to sell me something, I normally just kind of look at it and I will leave it for a few days before I reply. But if you say, hey Paige, how are you? Or just want to have that conversation, I'm your girl. I will talk to you.
God, I love that. It's like you're a girl's girl, like Ali from off campus. It's you are there. You just want to be there to connect with people. And I know we've been speaking a lot about this in the episode, but it's just a lot of people say that, but their actions don't really match up. But in your case, you 100% deliver on all the things that you say you do, which I think is just
Thank
it's the
you.
breath of fresh air we needed.
And that's
Um,
what I want to always be, because like I feel like we've got enough influences and that sort of thing. And yeah, sure, like I know that I'm categorized in those influences, like I get that, but I just don't want to be known as an influencer. I want to be known as the person that someone can come and jump into my DMs and know that they're going to have someone to reply to them.
Yeah, there was one. So I follow a few of the big influencers because I actually really do enjoy their book recommendations.
Absolutely.
I'm actually reading one now. It's the latest dystopian hype. It's called Because I Killed Him, by Edith Bird, and I'm about 40% in. Fucking phenomenal. Okay, imagine my shock when I opened the author bio. They're sisters from South Africa. I was like, what? What? We don't get South African authors. And they posted the other day, they had something like 5 million the KU page reads in 2 weeks. That is like they will have a trad deal by the end of the year. I'm telling you now. I got that from a one influencer that I follow who does work with the trad things because she does a mix. It's not just the trad books. I assume the trad books fun for lifestyle. The indie is the stuff she reads for fun. But then the one influencer I actually have to stop following because I could see her recommendations were becoming more about the biggest paycheck, not about the honesty, which I'm like, girl, I can see when you're lying. Like don't
Yeah.
bullshit a bullshitter. Like no, go away. So yeah, I really appreciate that difference. What makes you different as a let's call you a businesswoman.
Everything that I do, I have not been paid for a single cent on my platform or anything like that. That is purely all just me. Sure, I do get sent like a lot of free books and amazing. Thank you so much to every single person that has. Doesn't mean that I get to it straight away,
Mm.
but you know, everything that I post is all from my own what I want to post. It's never about getting the free book or anything like that. It's literally just from the heart.
And again, I might not be an expert, but I think authenticity sells way more than anything else. And I think that's what comes through in your page a lot is that it is authentic. It's from the heart. It's never like, sure, everyone has their price, but you're like, I'll do what I want on my terms. And the community will grow from that. And I think that's sustainable in the long term. Paige, I have loved getting to speak to you. I have loved getting to know you. I have loved just seeing a little bit more of the Australian side. And who knows, maybe one day I can finally get there, even if I am terrified of your wildlife. Just by the way, the stories I've
Everyone
heard,
is.
I because like the whole opening a toilet to a snake in the toilet or spiders like the size of my face.
I have possums come into my house.
Okay, but that's cute. That I don't mind. They can come chill.
They eat all my food.
There was a few years ago with Australian, you guys had floods. Okay, I don't know which part of Australia it was. And it was like this big grass field. And then the reel was, if you look closely, you can see a swarm of spiders trying to escape the flood. And then you look closer and the grass is moving. It's like this like blank. I was like, Australia looks great. I'm going to stay here away from that in the safety of no spider blankets. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day I'll get over myself and do it.
Maybe one day.
Thank you, Paige. You're
You're
amazing.
so welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I've had such a great time.